Greetings, wizards! Welcome to the Papercraft Wizard channel. My name is Kelly, and I'm so glad that you're here. I have 11 of these pieces, measuring 7 3/4 by 5/8, and I have 2 pieces measuring 7 3/4 by 3/8 inch. I'm going to start adhering my 3/8 inch pieces. I want to make sure I have about 1/8 of an inch on each end, and then just a little space on each side. Now I'll move on to the 5/8 inch pieces. And then I have 2 left, and I'm going to set those aside for right now. I'm going to bring back the album cover and add the binding. I want to make sure that we have it in just the right spot. And I think I have it now right here. We're just going to make sure that it's still even because I think I moved it around quite a bit. And I'm just going to make sure that's nice and secure. We went ahead and created a score line, folded it over, burnished it down real well. And I'm just using my bone folder to create a score mark. Here, this piece to the cover. And I want to make sure it is perfectly in line. And now our pages will be able to move around and lay flat. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and just miter the corners here. Now I don't want to go all the way down to the bottom because we're going to leave about a 1/4 inch space between the bottom of our binding here and where our page will sit. So I want to go just about a 1/4 inch up, and then we just need to miter these slightly. I'm eyeballing a 1/4 of an inch, but if you'd rather, you can always use a pen and make a mark. And now I have 2 pieces of decorative paper that match the paper we added to the binding. These sheets of paper are 8 3/8 by 8 7/8. I've inked the edges, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere these into place right on the inside, front, and back cover. So I've dry fit it, and it looks good. So I'm going to add the adhesive and adhere that into place. I'm also going to bring in those 2 leftover strips that we had, and those will go right in place here. It always ends up a little bit more than you'd expect. So I'm just going to center it in place as well as possible. Use my bone folder and make sure that's nice and secure. And we'll do the same with the second piece on the other side. I'll take our other sheet, add the adhesive, and adhere it in place. Now that we have all 4 of our signatures complete, let's go ahead and adhere these into the album. We're not going to adhere our pages all the way up against the binding. We want to leave approximately a 1/4 inch space. And so I'm going to take my liquid adhesive and I'm just going to apply that just to this top 1/2 inch of our binding piece here. And we're going to do that on both sides of this little tab here. Now we're just going to slide that page right over that binding piece. We want to make sure it doesn't go down farther than our 1/4 inch space there. Away a little bit of that extra adhesive. I want to make sure it's good on both sides. And now I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to try to help make sure that's nice and secure on there. And I'm going to kind of press on one side with my fingers and the other side with the bone folder, just to make sure that that gets on there nice and securely. And I just also want to make sure that there's no excess glue leaking out. And I also want to make sure that I am not pushing this page too far down. I want to make sure we have that approximately 1/4 of an inch there. So our first page is in. Okay, and you can put these in whatever order you'd like to have them in. think I'm going to make this my next page. So same thing, I'm just going to add adhesive up to that 1/4 inch mark. And then I'm just kind of opening up the page a little bit to make sure that I can slide that over. It's very easy to go down too far. I'm just going to wipe away the excess glue from where I added glue just a little too deeply there. And I want to make sure we're not too far on this side. Maybe it needs to go down just a little bit more. I'm just verifying that I have this on correctly. We want to make sure it's pretty even. And then once we have that where we want it, we'll use our bone folder to make sure it's nice and slide this one over just as we have the others down to that 1/4 inch mark. Is right about where we want it. Oh, I'm going to take my bone folder to secure it down and open up this page. So just as I have the other pages, I'm just going to open up that pocket a little bit, slide that page over one end, and then just wiggle it down a little bit to we're about the 1/4 inch mark. All right, so now all of our pages have been adhered into our album. So here I have 4 pieces of cardstock that measure 7 inches by 7 inches. This will be the base for each of our pullouts. I've gone ahead and stamped a camera stamp on the center of all of them, indicating photos may go there. And I've also rounded the corners on each one of these. I also have 4 pieces of decorative paper. These are 6 7/8 inches by 6 7/8 inches. As you can see, this one I used strips of paper to create this page. I just think it adds a little bit of fun and it's a great way to use up your scraps. I'll be adding these decorative papers onto the back of our pull-out page bases. I've also punched out 4 little tab punches, and I'll be using these for the tab that we pull them out. And I'm going to go ahead and add these 4 charms here to these tabs, along with some ribbon. I have a huge pile of ribbon here. I will not be using all of it, but the ribbon that I'm using is about 5.5 inches in length, and most of it is 3/8 inches wide. I do have a little bit more of that inch wide that we've been using throughout. I just think it's so pretty, so I'll probably be using that. You can use however many pieces of ribbon you'd like, as long as they all fit through your whole reinforcer. So I'm also going to grab 4 hole reinforcers, and then 4 of the little backing rings. I'm going to take a pen and mark all of these right where I want my hole to go. I'm going to punch my holes right about here. I'm going to punch those holes at 3/16 of an inch. I'm just going to line this up, make sure that we are far enough away from the top there, and then I'll punch that hole, and it looks about like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 4 of our pull tabs. So now if you have an orientation, you want to make sure that you have your pull tabs in the right orientation. So I'm just going through and making sure everything is right side up. That's about how those are going to go. So for my first one here, I'm just going to go ahead and add the hole reinforcer, and I'll go ahead and add that backing. I have it set to this little mechanism here, and I'm using this mound and then just this retractable post. I'm going to slide this into where the mound is servicing the bottom of our little hole reinforcer. And then I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that. And so when I'm done, this is what it looks like. And we'll be sticking our ribbon through here with our charm on it. So now I'll do the same for the other 3. if it's directional. I'm going to make sure my image is facing me. I'm going to put the ribbon through the front, and then I'll pull my tab up and I'll put the ribbon through the front of that hole reinforcer. And I'll wiggle that, kind of wiggle that through. And then I will put my finger through that little loop, grab the ends of the ribbon, and then pull them through. And then I'll pull that tight. And I like to go through and individually pull on every ribbon just to make sure that it's nice and securely looped in there. Okay, and there's our first tab. I'll do the same thing for the remaining 3. And we'll start adhering our decorative paper to our bases. And then we'll use our bone folder to make sure that's nice and secure. And we'll do that for the remaining 3. Now that we have all of our pull-out photo mats assembled here, I'm going to go ahead and add our little charm tabs. So I'm going to add my liquid adhesive and then adhere this on to our pull-out photo mat. So for this first one, I'm just going to go ahead and adhere it right here to the top. Right about there. I just kind of lined up the little piece of my tab here with the base of the cardstock. And then I'll go ahead and use my bone folder to make sure that's on there nice and secure. And now our first one is finished. So I'm going to move on to our last one next. I'm going to do the same thing, just add some liquid adhesive and then adhere that onto our pull-out photo mat. And again, I'll go ahead and use my bone folder to make sure that's nice and secure. If you don't have a tab die, another common thing to do is to use either a round punch like this or a round die and then cut it in half and use both halves of the circle. There's always going to be a creative way to create those. Okay, so now I have two of them finished, the top and bottom, and that's going to help me line up my little pull tabs for the other two photo mats. So for this one, I'm just going to set that right about there so I know where the other two tabs are. I'm going to grab this cute little blue tab with the flower on it. And I'm going to add my liquid adhesive. Got to make sure you get both sides of that tab. Okay, so these will overlap. You could also measure these out. I have a tendency to eyeball things. And for this last one, I'll do the same. I'll add my liquid adhesive and then adhere that in place. And now all of our pull-out pages are complete. I'm going to go ahead and bring in our album. And I'm going to add all of these pull-out pages into the album. Thank you for watching. Happy crafting.